Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Case, I'm going to go ahead and get my fellow presenters to come down to the first row to save some time between transitions. The goal of this presentation is just to go over a few things related to community development. We're often in front of you, obviously, with zoning cases, but community development as a whole is a lot more than that. From a numbers perspective, we handle more capital improvement projects, both in number and in value, than the other division. We have 6 departments: utilities, environmental engineering, building inspection, planning, community enhancement, and transportation. About 550 employees, the majority of which are located in utilities, which is the largest department within the division. Primarily, we have engineers, inspectors, planners, and operators, and those could be equipment operators, wastewater treatment operators, a variety of different professions. We have 30 licensed engineers, 9 code enforcement officials, 2 licensed inspectors, 46 certified building inspectors, all with their erosion and sediment control certifications, and interestingly enough, to me at least, 1 trapper. We have that many issues with nuisance animals like beavers that impact drainage throughout the county. So we have 1 guy that we'll just say nicely removes those animals. With that, speaking of drainage, I'll turn it over to my good friend Scott Smedley to go over some of their work.
Good afternoon. Good to be with you all. So years ago, those of you who have been on the board a while remember my conversations about environmental revitalization. Newer board members, many years ago as we were working through our Chesapeake Bay TMDL requirements, one of the things we focused on was taking this onerous mandate passed down to localities and trying to do some good with it in our older communities. And that is referred to as our environmental revitalization portion of that mandate. So one of the projects that we undertook was Pokeshot Creek stream restoration. I've handed out a flyer that we gave out to residents in the community as we held public meetings many, many years ago. And you don't have to go through it all right now, but it just gives you an idea of what we were conveying to the residents out there. So Pokeshot Creek, on the left-hand side here, is north. You see Midlothian Turnpike. This stream is in a part of the county that development occurred mostly 30 to 50 years ago, long before there were any stormwater requirements for design, engineering, and building of developments. As such, this stream became heavily eroded and degraded. There's also significant infrastructure, both in utilities for our water and wastewater, and also Dominion in the area. And this is just a general view of what that stream looked like before we got started. Eroded banks, many trees collapsing into the stream, very little aquatic life in the stream from our past surveys. So as we began on the design of this project and we're moving through to construction, one of the hurdles that we encountered was the number of easements that we needed to obtain. We had 36 easements, and you'll notice in the flyer that we had originally planned to start construction on this project in 2015, and we didn't actually get to start until 2020 because it took 5 years to get all of those easements obtained. So the stream design restoration basically incorporates some natural stream restoration, but also some protection of the associated properties to prevent erosion. And you can see here some substantial rock to prevent the erosion of the banks, and also some of the drainage coming into the stream to prevent erosion in the future, because there's no detention upstream in many of these developments. And here, this is one of utilities' sanitary sewers. You can see the manhole right there. So basically going back and armoring that whole section of the stream to prevent further erosion and exposure of that sanitary sewer. And then the opposite side of the bank is natural stream restoration. This has already started to grow up and is looking very nicely. And once again, both incorporating some armoring to protect the banks, and then also replanting on the banks where the floodplain. You can see here a more natural stream design. So we're about 95% complete with the Pokeshot Creek Stream Restoration Project. We are going to go back and make a repair further upstream outside of the limits of that project, where utilities had a sewer line that needed repair recently. So we're gonna go back in there close to that and do some bank stabilization, and also there's a storm sewer outfall there that could use some reinforcement. So we're gonna get the contractor to go up there and go ahead and fix some of that while they're still out there. But right now, hopefully finishing up in January. So before I move on to the next project, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, just one. I noticed sort of the stair-step design in some of the photos, and I assume that that is used to also slow down the water as well.
That's correct.
Right? Because if you have a high velocity of water coming down, it
Yes,
pulls
so
more
basically,
down with it.
it's creating a step pool to slow the velocity, and actually the next project I'm gonna talk about that's actually on the county campus here employs that also, but you're exactly right.
This is phenomenal work.
So the other project that we identified that would be a good environmental restoration is right here on the county complex, over close to the Eanes Pittman building. This outfall right here has no detention, and there's a lot of drainage coming off the parking lot, building surfaces, and goes into a tributary of Proctor's Creek that there's a walking path on if any of you have ever been down that way. So the design was to basically capture that flow, create a regenerative stormwater conveyance, which basically allows some of the sediment and nutrients to get absorbed, slow the velocity of the stormwater coming off of the impervious area down to allow it to incorporate into the stream in a more natural way. So you can see here during one of our significant storms in 2020, how this is designed as a step pool system. Each of these pools captures a certain amount of water, and then it overflows into the next pool. And you can see how significant the drainage is coming down through here. And previously, you know, the water coming from this outfall here just kind of eroded the channel and then down into the stream.